Why am I pretending like I'm this person that I'm not yet? Like I've got 10 subscribers. Why am I saying, hey guys? There are no guys. There's no one here. You find a formula that works and then maybe you depart from it a little bit and then you notice the views are a little lower and you think that the solution is, oh, I just need to go back to how I did it before because it worked a year ago. It doesn't mean anything. That's why I feel like YouTubers never change. It's like I didn't recognize Destiny anymore. It looked like it got mobile gamified.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another one-on-one conversation with a fellow gaming content creator. My name is Sax, and today I have the chance to talk with one of the most entertaining creators across all of YouTube gaming. More than 10 years experience and over 200 million views, he's earned his place by stitching together the best and funniest moments to bring his viewers into what some are calling the internet's most chaotic Discord call. Whether you're playing Destiny, Marathon, Arc Raiders, or something else, make sure to turn on that proximity chat because you never know what you're going to hear. SirDimetrious, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I appreciate you coming out, and Dado shouted you out just a few weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? He would be a great person to talk with everything. So we're going to get into the state of Destiny, content creation, and all that, but man, really appreciate you being here. So let me get some housekeeping out of the way, and then we will get right into it. So guys, as always, thank you for hanging out here on the Sax Talks Games channel. Whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, please consider leaving a positive review and subscribing so you don't miss a single episode. If you would like to directly support the show, you can become a member on YouTube. You can just choose from a variety of tiers for various added benefits, and you'll have your name added to the credits at the end of the show. You'll start seeing those. We've started getting some members, and you'll start seeing those at the end if you hang out there. So, well, Sir D, man, if anyone's not familiar with you or your content, can you give our listeners a quick breakdown of like who you are and the content that you create on the internet?
Yeah, so basically it's just me. You know, it was something I've kind of changed several times, but for the past few years, it's basically just been me and my friends playing whatever game I'm playing. And then the recording style is I just have, it's called replay buffer. So it's like, I'm not hopping on and saying, okay, we're doing a 2-hour recording session. Everybody become an entertainer. We need to have like 13 minutes worth of footage from this one session, and then you kind of go overboard on it. It's just us playing, and then if something entertaining happens or useful happens, like something, I basically try to make videos around my friends and I's experience playing that game. So like if one guy is dying to fall damage all the time, whenever that happens, I'm going to make sure to clip it, and then that will have its own segment. Or the guy that always shows up late or complains about a certain enemy type or whatever. So I try to take all of these little random clips over really a long period of time of recording. Like I think my marathon video was like 150 hours of recording.
Jesus.
And try to like turn that into a 13 minute video where it feels like you're part of the group, I guess.
Yeah. I was really trying hard that's one thing, like anytime I bring someone on for the first time, I try to like ham it up with an intro, and then if they come back after it's way more chill. But with that, when I was thinking through it, I was like, how do I want to phrase this, right? Because there's so many different ways, and even like doing research, going back, I love to just take the YouTube channel, sort it by oldest, and go back, and I'm like, and we're gonna get into a little bit of that because I think there's some goodness there, and like there's some things to learn there, but we'll go to that in a second. I was trying to figure out the best way, and I felt like as I was like talking through it or thinking through it, I was like, it feels like what I remember those Friday nights getting home after school and like hopping into the COD lobbies and just like with the buddies and like, hey, we're gonna literally play until the sun comes up the next day. And it's just like, it kind of like captures that effect, but I know it didn't start like that. Like, how did you develop to that style? Like getting to that place where you're like, hey, we're going to do more entertainment content rather than, like educational or, these kinds of things.
So I started in Destiny 1 right when that came out. I was primarily interested in Destiny as like a PvE thing. When I had heard about it, from a friend that I'd met. I was in 9th grade at the time. We were getting ready for Destiny by playing a ton of Borderlands. So like, we were going to be in it for like the PvP thing was like, oh, this is kind of like an afterthought.
Interesting.
But then when Destiny launched, to me, the PvE was like the raid, you know, like Vault of Glass was great and everything, but it was kind of like, I didn't feel like there was really that much entertaining content to do, at least in Destiny 1. So I ended up just playing a ton of PvP. So at the beginning, all of the videos were like, and I was in high school at the time. Kind of the standard for YouTube content was a little different. It was a little more gameplay driven. So it was kind of like I would just play, and then I ended up getting pretty good at it. So it would be like, oh, I had a 45 kill game or 50 kill game. I would just record it. I would do like a 30-second intro saying, hey, this was a good game I had. These are the weapons I used. And then it would just be the gameplay. So that was like the first...
Interesting.
Probably the first like 6 months-ish to a year maybe of Destiny 1. It was all gameplay centric. So it was very easy. The appeal ended up being over time that I got better and better, and I was playing in like tournaments and stuff, that it was like I was the guy that was good at PvP, and that was kind of it. And then after that, I was competing in more tournaments. So then not only was it just like I wasn't posting the high kill gameplays anymore, it was posting like tournament matches or scrim matches against other really popular teams like BSK at the time, which had... this will be a major throwback, but it was derived from Invigorate. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I've not. No.
So that was like the number one. I think they got world's first for Vault of Glass. I could be mistaken, but like this was at a time where, based off of leaderboards and very early kind of achievements in Destiny, they were like the clan that everybody knew.
Interesting.
And in that clan was, I don't even know if you heard of him now, Luminosity.
I have heard that.
48. Yeah, so he was in there. They broke off and made BSK. They were basically one of the top tournament teams. I was in a clan called I Am, which was one of the top tournament teams that like
I do recognize that name.
Yeah, so it was kind of like I would stream those matches and then record the best ones and post them. And then I only got into the like trying to put some entertainment or personality in them in like year 3 or so. I did a lot of, I started doing those weapon review sort of videos, and like that went pretty well. And then Destiny 2 came out, and like I just had no fun on it. And it was hard to do the weapon review videos because all the weapons were static rolls, and they also just weren't, everything was so, it was like so well balanced to the point that it was boring, where there was no like, look at this awesome weapon. It was like everything was just mediocre.
Honestly, that's a great way to put it. It sucks. It sucks to hear it said that way, but that is because it's so accurate. It's like that stings a little, but that really was what it was like in the early.
I was like, I don't know what sort of weapon review videos I can do for this, and I just got bored. So I left for a while, and then when I came back, it was just more of those weapon review videos really that did really well in like 2020, 2021. I was just cranking those out every day, and just trying to, inject as much personality or jokes or whatever into those, and that that was like a solo show. That was just me using the weapons, like basically just like spamming one-liners and accents and stuff like that. And then eventually I just kind of got bored of doing that, and that led into like recording with other people, doing things like raids and dungeons and stuff like that. And then when I swapped to variety, that's when I was like, okay, I don't want to just, because I was in the videos took so long that I was just like, I play for an hour and a half and then I edit for a week.
Sure.
And it felt like I wasn't really playing the game. So I wanted to do something where it's like, I'm just playing with my friends. So we can play for a long time. I can get the best moments from it, and then try to, as I explained, bake it into like a little 10-minute video.
Man, what you said right there just resonated so much with me. And I think a lot of people who probably are, have tried to make content about any game, right? Where it's so easy to flip it on head, where you're like, okay, I'm playing the game only to create the content, right? Or like, am I playing the game and it's like content comes out of it? And I think that that's a skill, right? Like I think that in the early days, so for full transparency, I've been doing this for about 14 months now, like really, really like driving to this. And there's been times where it's kind of flown more, or it just flowed naturally, where you just play the game and some cool stuff happens or whatever. And then there's times where it's like, okay, no, I'm getting on to sort this specific thing out and do this thing, and this is all I'm doing. And they both have their rewards or their benefits to it. But I think a lot of people are going to be getting in this place where now Destiny's coming to an end, everything that's coming out, we're like, what the hell do we do? Because I had a conversation just a few weeks ago with Llama and G Miners. Like, we were here on the podcast, and G asked Llama and I, because G stepped away. He's not really like making videos and stuff at this point. He's streaming a little bit. And he asked us, he's like, guys, do you intend to do variety? Do you intend to go do something else or whatever? And we both were kind of like, we don't know that we even really love video games enough to do that, like to cover it. You know what I mean? And it was such an interesting thing. So what you said right there, that kind of stood out to me on that front. Let me ask you this. You talk about the one-liners, you talk about all of that, and I want to get into that a little more. But when I did that reverse search, so to speak, I took your channel, flipped it on head, and went to the oldest. Obviously, I think we all cringe at the earliest stuff you put out.
The earliest stuff is actually private, so that's the oldest stuff that I'm willing for it to be visible, which is still pretty bad.
I mean. But the things I love about it, like you had a few videos early on that were like, hey, 1 year of YouTube or YouTube tips and things. And I loved hearing the progression of, watching your latest marathon video, and you're just ripping like jokes, ripping one line, whatever. And then in those early days, you're just like, yeah, it took, I was trying to do a minute-long intro, and it took me like an hour and a half, and my room got too hot because I was trying to record the entire time. So I had to take a break. Dude, it cracked me up, like, because I understood where you were going through. Talk to us about that progression. Like, how was it really just reps after reps, like to get more comfortable, or like how did you go about just getting better at this?
Time and reps, basically. It just becoming comfortable. Part of why I was so uncomfortable at the start was like, at the time, it wasn't really seen as much of a viable like thing to do, where it was kind of like cringe, basically, which I'm sure people feel that it's cringe still when they first start, because they're like, why am I pretending like I'm this person that I'm not yet? Like, I've got 10 subscribers. Why am I saying, hey guys? There are no guys. There's no one here. And I was doing that in my bedroom. And at the beginning, when I would record, I just had my headset mic and I would record into it. But I was so afraid of my older brother hearing me that I would wear the headphones around my neck so I could hear when he would be close outside the door, or else he'd barge in and start making fun of me. So in the earliest ones, I have it around my neck and I'm like whispering. I'm like, hey guys, what's up? That's why I'm like kind of mumbling, is because I didn't want him to hear me.
Yeah.
And it's what, like, with time, it takes a long time though. Like, it's not it's not gonna be 3 or 4 videos and then you're like, okay. I mean, maybe if that's who you are, you can adjust that quickly, but you're kind of always in this state of improving, to the point where, for like a lot of people that I talk to too, it's like videos that you made 1 year ago are always gonna like be cringe to you. Like, oh, this is a lot worse than I make now.
Sure.
And so you're kind of basically, hopefully, if you're gonna last for a while, you're just always gonna be getting more comfortable or getting better at it. For me, you can kind of just see, like, even when I was 2 years in, I thought, okay, like I felt comfortable. But then when I look at those videos, even though I was 2 years in and felt like I was established or whatever, they feel awkward to me now. Like, oh, that's not a very good video or whatever. So you're basically just kind of always doing your best and constantly trying to improve.
Yeah. Just get 1% better every video. If you do enough of them, you're going to be a pro. What were you editing at? What did editing look like in the early days? And like, where have you settled on that front? Because I find it interesting. I mean, everyone kind of has their own flair or their own journey with that.
In the early days, like I said, it was a lot of just like gameplay focused stuff. So like I would record the game, which would be like 8, 10, 11 minutes long, depending on the game mode. I would do a quick, hey guys, I had this really good game on this map. This is what I was using. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. So it was like I could literally, that's why it was so nice. I could make a video that was still getting like, I don't know, 10,000, 20,000 views or something. And I could make it in legitimately 30 minutes.
Dang.
With the thumbnail and everything. So it was like, you know, like in high school, you want to have your high school job to start making a little money. I've never, ever had a job because I started when I was 15, which was before to work like in a kitchen, at least in California, you have to be 16.
Yep.
So when you're 15, the only place you can work is like an ice cream shop. And I applied to ice cream shops. I got denied or I didn't get, hired or whatever.
Sure.
But then by the time I was 15 and a half, working 30 minutes a day or something, I was making, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was like $400 a month. And if you have no bills, $1,400 a month is a lot. So I kind of just like, it was enough with so little effort that I just never ended up needing to get a regular job. And that's crazy, that's been like 12 years now.
I think that's something that like a lot of people, they obviously that's the hopes and dreams, right? Like that you'd be able to play games with the boys and, turn it into what it is. But I think that you don't see every step along the way, like those 1% growths that you're talking about. Like it's just hard to kind of put that to, I don't know. You hear often people talking about like, oh, the overnight success that took years to happen, right? Like it just, all the work that happened behind the scenes and stuff. So, I want to fast forward just a little bit now and let's talk about more of your modern videos. Okay. So your videos often push boundaries that most YouTubers would never dare to touch, whether that's with jokes, whether that's, whatever is put in there. How have you been able to get comfortable with including like certain references, memes, unfiltered prox chats, like unhinged Discord conversations? Like, those are things that like, I don't know. Am I overthinking that? Or is that something you've had to like get comfortable with over time? And how have you navigated that with like this being the way you make money and then like having certain things? Like where is that line and what has your relationship been with that over time?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't always like that. I think there was a period of time where that was like a super big no zone. Like, even if it was like, I wouldn't say well-intentioned, but no ill intent. I'm not, of course, talking about something like, look, I said the N-word but I had no ill intent. Who cares? Not like that, but like, like other jokes, like a gay joke or whatever.
There's just so many references you throw in there. And I think like even like if I just throw in like a little niche thing, it's like I'll be in the head. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't know if any of that lands. So my policy basically is like part of the approach of the videos is that I'm trying to capture an authentic experience of my time I had on that game. And for Arc Raiders, an example, a core thing about my time on that game is that when you kill people, they scream some horrible stuff at you. And so I'm like, well, first of all, I didn't say it. It's him.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's not glorifying that sort of language because this person just got killed and is so mad that they're screaming these things as they're like crawling around on the floor. And so I censor it out, right?
Sure.
I was like, I think that's fine. I didn't say it. It's someone else. I censored it. We'll see how that goes. And basically no one seems to have a problem with it.
I think as a viewer, we love it. Like it's funny and because I think if you look like one layer deeper, right? Like you could have anyone like it pops up on their screen. They're like, oh man, like, okay, like that's what I'm watching now. But for people who know you, right? Like they understand I think it comes across pretty clear, and I think you're hitting the nail on the head with like, hey, this is the authentic experience. This is what actually playing the game is like. This, if you're in these lobbies, I mean, a lot of people play at, Arc Raiders is a complete PvE game, or at least I did the last time I was playing. So, but the amount of times where we go in and just get into a fight when someone wasn't expecting, or like they shot first, but then they're mad we turned it around on them because they weren't expecting that we'd be able to do that. And then, we're getting called slurs because they engaged us for, like, I don't understand. But that is the real experience on games like that, sometimes on the prox chat. Not always, but sometimes. And I guess my real question is, like, have you ever had instances where, like, references, memes, things you've thrown in there, like you'll do a lot of, there was one time you threw, one of the videos I was watching before this was
it Arc Raiders
you had
one?
Like, maybe, but you had like Beyonce's music in one time. I think it was like Girls Run the World, like playing on top of, like,
really?
Just you like cut to it as like a funny thing in one of the videos. And I was wondering, like, with all of the references, everything you throw in, like, do you ever get flagged on videos and you're like, that was like too long, or like how do you walk that
so line? The trick is, if you're gonna use any clip with something that you think will be flagged automatically, you time stretch it. So you time stretch it and pitch shift it down.
Interesting.
So like if you played that Beyonce song at full speed, it's going to get flagged. But if you're like, I just want the essence of the song so the viewer knows that it was that song that was playing, because that song is funny, whether it's sped up or slowed down or whatever, you just slow it down and pitch shift it down. And that way you get the effect of it, but it changes it enough where it's not going to be picked up on auto detect. And realistically, people shouldn't be claiming a 3-second snippet
that's fair.
From the thing. Sometimes it does get claimed, and then you just have to it's a 3-second segment. It's not like I'm using it for 2 minutes long, so you can just do the auto trim thing where you just okay, if you want to manually claim it, I'll just delete that 3 seconds from the video.
I was wondering about that. I actually was going to ask you specifically, like, had you ever had to go in and actually trim a specific part out of a video because of something like that?
Yeah, it happens fairly frequently. Like the last Marvel Rivals video I posted got claimed, but sometimes they get claimed as revenue sharing. And for those, like, because of how much time I spend on each video, I really don't make that, like, ad revenue is really a small portion. Like it's really not as important. So like if I have to enable revenue sharing to keep the integrity of the video intact, like, that's worth it to me. So like I have a few recent videos, like my Battlefield video and then that recent Marvel Rivals one where revenue sharing's on. I could have trimmed the clip and deleted it entirely, but I'll just leave it because it's like, well, the video's already got the majority of its views. I'm probably losing out on like $50 or something.
So where, if you don't mind us talking, because you don't do much streaming, right?
No, I haven't streamed since like 2022 or maybe 2023 or something.
I was looking, trying to kind of get an idea on that. And so if you don't mind, like, where, we don't have to talk numbers and stuff, but like where does the revenue lie in that? Are you doing specific deals and placements on these videos, or like how are you making that work if the revenue, like you said, like the time you spent for the videos and the revenue for the videos?
So it's mainly brand deals. It's brand deals, but also another important part is my second channel. So what I do, I didn't have a second channel for the longest time, and for the first like 2 or 3 variety videos, like once I decided I was leaving Destiny, for the first few of those, I didn't have a second channel. So what would happen is I record for like 100 hours or a really long time. I spend a whole day designing thumbnails and whatnot, and then I gotta sort all the footage, which takes another full day or 2, and then like a week and a half of editing. So I'm spending like 200 hours sometimes on one video. And then once I upload it, I have all, these are all miscellaneous clips. So I'm basically just picking the best ones or the ones that fit the best within the video. So like if I have 3 clips that are doing the same thing for the video, I pick the best one. And then the other 2, I don't put in because it's like, yeah, they're still pretty funny, but like I already hit on that, like whatever the theme was in that clip. Then I'm like, okay, well, I'll save the leftover clips for the next video I make on that game. But then it ended up being, there was a reason I didn't pick them the first time, is that I felt that they weren't quite good enough.
Sure.
And so I would just delete them. I'm like, well, I'm not going to use them for anything. I'll just delete them. And then I was actually watching an interview with the owner of a cigar company.
Okay.
And he basically talked about when they, if they're not vertically integrated, they have to buy the leaves in bulk from the farmers, and they have to buy a bulk package. They don't get to pick like, I only want the highest grade, blah blah blah. Sure. And so what a lot of people do is they have to buy in bulk, and then whatever they don't use, and that increases the price of their product. But what he does is he makes multiple tiers of basically the same cigar, but with different graded leaves, so that the highest grade product, which was the original intent, he can keep the price down. And so I thought, I'm throwing away my lower grade clips for no reason, and that makes it so I need to make more money on my main channel videos. Which how much time they require. Like my marathon video that did really well, if you calculate how much I made per hour, I made like $2 an hour on that video. So I'm like, I'm going to make a second channel, and then that way when I'm doing the recording process for my next video, I can't record 12 hours a day, especially when I'm playing with friends. They're not all available the entire day. So when I'm not recording, I'll take these leftover clips that I was going to throw away and waste and turn them into a lower effort video that I'm like, oh, I'll put default text on the screen. Oh, that sound effect's too loud. I don't care. Oh, the music's a little too low, whatever. So I'm basically treating it as like a blank canvas to just throw paint at, where it's like, for a while, I was almost like intentionally making them shitty because the other ones had such a strict quality standard that I'm like, I just want to like have I'm not rewatching the same thing 40 times to make sure it's perfect. I'm doing it once. I'm putting the sounds or whatever that I feel should be there in the moment, like on impulse, and then I move on. And so those videos I can do in like 7 hours. And they get like 80% as many views as my main channel videos. So that's a way that I can make it make more sense, where like, maybe I'm making $2 an hour on my main channel video, but if you calculate my second channel videos, I'm making like $40 an hour or $50 an hour.
It kind of helps you balance everything out, like between them, makes things make sense. I actually, that was a big point that we were talking about. I was talking with Dado about, and then have been talking with some other people, and I wanted to ask you like what the purpose of that. So I'm glad you got into like the second channel, kind of breaking all that down. And I was recently talking to somebody in the D2 creator space, and I was like, man, I know it feels intimidating right now to start from scratch and to do something else, but if there's something you're passionate about, taking all of that knowledge that you've accrued on just your first channel and applying it to another one, and it's like, oh shit, I still kind of got it, right? Like,
and with a fresh algorithm,
dude,
like it does fun, a lot for your mental health too, because
it really does.
Because you know how it's like, oh, the numbers are gray, all the numbers are gray this month. Subscribers. If you make a new channel, solid green, solid green, solid green, solid green, your click-through rate 20% or something. Like it's like, it actually, I was like, I had more fun making my second channel videos for a long time, because it was like, you feel like you can take more risks and do whatever, and then the videos still do really well. And so it also kind of gives you, or gave me, some confidence that like, hey, I made this video in 8 hours, and I didn't overthink the thumbnail, and the click-through rate is through the roof, and the average watch time is the same as my main channel video that I took forever on. So like maybe, especially with like sponsored videos, if there's a tighter timeline, I don't feel as like nervous about like, oh, I've got to do all the crazy editing. It's like, okay, it can be simple. Like it doesn't have, don't overthink it all the time.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it sounds like you're I don't know, maybe you are convinced yourself, but it sounds like you are convincing yourself by saying that, right? Because you're talking about the revenue split and what the difference is, and that 80% number, like saying that you're getting an 80% return on such less, less thing. I've seen that too. I had a few. So for full transparency, I have a main like D2 gaming channel, just like guides and stuff of that sort. And then I have this channel here, which is the podcast. And then I started doing just like light commentary when things are happening, just
like reaction
talk. Yeah, basically just, hey, this happened on Twitter. There was a generational run where the Destiny 2 team was going through and just answering every question about this new update. Like just, hey, yep, Trophy Hunter's back. Yep, this is back, whatever. And I was like, oh, I reacted to it. And the funniest thing is I was watching my daughter. She'll be 3 months tomorrow. So like we've been navigating this world of like new baby. How do I do this? So I had her in my arms, literally right here. And I just put like a little like Destiny ghost icon over her face, like in the video. I'm holding her the entire time. She's literally drinking her bottle. And I didn't realize my mic was picking up the entire time. So like, it's like the worst ASMR ever. Like if you're listening to it, and I tried to like cut it out. I tried to do whatever when I was listening back. I was like, okay, I feel cringe about this, but like I wanted to put something out. I put it out and it got like 70,000 views, like on a brand new channel. The easiest thing I had made probably all year. And I just was like, I don't know what it was about this. Like the thumbnail took like 20 minutes, all this stuff. And so you do get kind of warped sometimes when you're like, hey, I'm gonna just try stuff and what sticks around, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's hard too, because like part of the skill of, I feel, of staying relevant, I guess, on YouTube for a long period of time is like sometimes you find a formula that works and then you feel like that's the only, like, oh, you're like, you find a formula that works and then maybe you depart from it a little bit and then you notice the views are a little lower and you think that the solution is, oh, I just need to go back to how I did it before because it worked a year ago.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean anything. If it worked a year ago, it doesn't mean it's going to work again. And so like people, that's why I feel like YouTubers never change, is because they're like, they feel like they have to stick to exactly the thing they did or else it'll never work, when in reality it's like people get tired of shticks. Like you can't pull, especially if it's like comedy sort of content. It's like I had to swap what I was doing because people don't want to watch 8,000 weapon review videos. Like the first 100 maybe that they watch, they'll be funny, but then it's like you're using the same jokes. You got to change the environment of the recording a bit to have it feel fresh. And sometimes I would fall into that trap of like, oh, I got to go back to the old thumbnail style, make sure the title's in all lowercase. That's the key. That's why it's not going well. And so it's like this hard balance between like looking at stuff that worked before and maybe doing it again, but also not being like a slave to, hey, this worked at a specific moment in time 3 years ago, so that's all that will ever work, and I need to keep copying that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So I've written down here from 2014 to 2018, you covered Destiny with a few small side quests. Like you were laser focused on Destiny in those early days. But the first one, and again, publicly, the first one that's publicly available, so I don't know what's, been taken down or whatever. The first one that you like fully pivoted away from Destiny was actually a video on Fortnite where you're exposing a YouTuber who's faking his videos, saying he was hitting trick shots on Drake and the Paul brothers. And this video went absolutely bonkers. Compared to, like, it literally is like double. It's at around like 3 million views. It's double whatever your next video is. What do you remember from like, so that was a step obviously away from the norm for you, right? Stepping away fully from Destiny into this world. Like, what do you remember about those days, and like what lessons did you learn about kind of like shooting your shot and just like making something?
At the time that I posted that video, I had already been playing Fortnite for a while. So before Fortnite came out, all of the popular battle royale games like PUBG, H1Z1, what I noticed about them is they're really popular on Twitch, Nobody's was watching them on YouTube. It was like, it's a live streamers thing.
I see.
And so when I left Destiny 2, actually, I left it for Fortnite before Fortnite was even really popular. It was like October of 2017, where it was actually seen more of a career risk, where like, I'm going from Destiny, the big game, to this little small game that is not that popular, but I think it's really fun, called Fortnite. Sure. And so when I made that swap, I'm like looking at the history, which ended up being wrong. I should have made YouTube videos for it, but I was like, people only watch streams of battle royale games, so I've got to stream on Twitch. That's the thing that moved me to Twitch. So I had been streaming on Twitch for like 4 months or something at that point. I don't know when I uploaded that video, but I hadn't really made any content for a while, so I was like completely out of rhythm of even making YouTube videos. And I saw that guy's video of him faking these clips, and it was like keeping me up at night. It was making me so angry.
Sure.
That he was lying about this, that I made that video at like 3 a.m. I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was like, should I make a video about this? I feel like no one will really care. Whatever. And so I just got up out of bed and I made it at 3 a.m. It took like a couple hours or something. And then I posted it, and yeah, it just went like nuclear. And the funny thing about that guy is that that content was such garbage, like such really trash.
Was. Yeah.
But he actually ended up being a legit, like a couple years later, like a legitimate top player in the region for competitive Fortnite. Like, he actually ended up being really good. So it's like this weird thing where like you wouldn't expect someone that would do something like that to actually end up being like a respected player.
Sure.
Within a couple years.
Yeah, he's just kind of sticking with it. I think it's I don't know if that was around like the whole like Drake and Ninja like stream and things like that. So I can definitely see how it would be, it could be a situation where you're, it's very enticing. You're like, hey, I can hit a shot. We clip it like this. I mean, you lay it out right exactly how it's working in your video and everything of that sort. But I could see how it would be enticing. And it's interesting those early days, flipping, like obviously now to even consider a world where like Fortnite didn't have a presence on YouTube or something is like crazy, right? Like there's so many videos in Fortnite, so many people's careers that have been made on that. But did you, after that video, after like an expose video of sorts, there were a couple more you kind of dipped into that did really well as well, like some like clickbait videos and things of this sort. But like, how did Fortnite play into your actual like progression? Because what it seemed like was like a little bit of like a respite from Destiny. It's like, hey, I got to get away from this like static sandbox. I guess that's what I took from it as I was looking at the history.
Yeah, I mean, I moved away from it, because I was just like, I could handle one of two things. If Destiny wasn't popular, but I loved playing it like Destiny 2, then you can make content on it. Or if I didn't really like playing it that much, but I loved making content on it and people were watching it, then, it's like, oh, maybe I should stay. But it was like, I didn't like playing it. I didn't like making content on it. Other people didn't like watching it. It was like basically just a clear no, like you should find something else. So I went to Fortnite, and at that time in Destiny, I was still, this is just like a couple months removed of still playing in tournaments and stuff. So like my goal, I guess, was always to try to be really good at whatever games I was playing. So when I went to Fortnite, I was streaming that, just trying to be, it wasn't a comedy thing. It was like, I'm trying to be really good at this game.
I see. Gotcha.
So in summer of 2018, so like 9 months after I started streaming it, that's when I got signed by 100 Thieves as a professional player / content creator. So then then it was not just a side quest. This was like, this Destiny's in the past. This is my new thing.
Yeah.
And Fortnite was huge and whatnot, and that didn't work out for kind of a multitude of reasons. Basically, all scrims and whatnot were on Eastern servers, and I'm in as far west in California as you can go. So
interesting.
I had like 100 ping to these servers, and Fortnite does everything server side. So it's not just your bullet registration. Your gun can't pull out until the server recognizes it. You can't jump until the server recognizes it. So imagine the lag you would get on 100 ping shooting somebody, and apply that to every single button you press. So it was literally like playing the game in slow motion against the best players in the world. So it was like, it felt impossible. It was like, this is a waste of my time. I was a student still at the time. So it's like, I have limited time to play. Nobody wants to watch this. So I'm just going to go, play solos or whatever. So I didn't get any real practice in like tournament style gameplay, because it's like a completely different game playing Fortnite competitive. So by the time the World Cup qualifiers rolled around, I had zero competitive experience, and I was just getting bored of playing it at that time, and the expectations of like being in a org where they're paying you a monthly salary and they're kind of breathing down your necks a little bit. I didn't really like it, and then I got let go from 100 Thieves, and at that point I was like, I'm not part of 100 Thieves. I don't like Fortnite anymore. I'm tired of it. And then that's when I was like, I had made a decent amount of money from Fortnite or Destiny or whatever. I was still in college, so I'm like, I had like $20,000 saved up, and I was like, well, why don't I just like I'll just finish my degree, and I'll have this like nice little kind of head start from this money that I've saved up, and I'll just call it. And then it was actually like a New Year's resolution that I was like, you know what? I'm going to come back to Destiny, and I'm going to make a video every day and just see how it goes. And so for the first like 4 months of 2020, I made a video every day, and it just took off, particularly 2020. That was COVID in March. And kind of like the rest was history. Kind of, I just kept doing it, and it ended up becoming kind of the main thing. And then I dropped out in 2022 for boring reasons. Basically, it made no sense at all to keep going to school.
What were you studying?
It was just a generic like business degree. It was kind of just like everybody's going to college. If you don't go to college,
to appease the parents?
You're a loser sort of thing. So you go, and because I was doing this, school was never my main focus in my mind. It was like a complete afterthought. So in hindsight, it wasn't really even worth doing at all. But,
well, I mean, it's worked out to this point, and there's a lot of like, I mean, there's so many aspects to the content creation thing that you learn, and you honestly probably could get a lot out of like having some sort of business degree, right? Like there's so many degrees where like in this field, I'm like, dude, I would love to know more about this or like from an education standpoint. But sometimes you just got to grind it out, right? And you're just figuring it out live and as you're going. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you is like how you kind of touched on it there, but how have you known like when it was time to move on from a game? Like, have you ever fully like put down a game and you're like, I'm never going back to that? Or is that something that's kind of like always, now that you're in this variety stance, like is everything fluid? Is everything on the table?
Yeah, everything's pretty fluid. The main kind of factor is just like, am I going to have fun working on this video? Because they take, like I said, they take a long time. So it's like, if I pick something that I think's going to, like, I'm not going to have fun editing for, it'll just be torture. And the video will just take forever because I'll keep I won't be working on it as much as I should be. So I kind of like, I did an Edge of Fate video, and I was like, I've made all these Destiny videos, but it's been a year now. The style of the recording is different. The game's different. There's new content. I'll come back and I'll make a Destiny video like I would any other variety video. Just one big video. And I did that. And I had some fun playing it, but I was bored editing it. It was like, I was like, no, it's not a time thing. It's not like a time away thing. I've just made so many videos on that game that it's just never, because the way that you approach the editing depends on the game you're playing. What sort of things happen in that game? Is that a game where people can die from fall damage, or like, you know, with funny ragdolls or this or that, where it's like I've already done all, like I've edited a Destiny ragdoll thing 1,000 times, or a fall damage thing 1,000 times, where like there's nothing in the game that can happen that I haven't already seen 100 times.
Yeah.
While editing. And so I was like, no, that's why I hadn't made a video for like the final Destiny update. Is like, yeah, I'm sure it's great, like the changes, and I would probably have fun playing, but it's like I've made so many videos on this game that I'm checked out video editing wise on it.
It also kind of fell. You posted an iconic picture of you with a cigar, and where were you on vacation? Italy?
That was in Italy, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, we went a couple years ago, and that was fantastic.
Where'd you guys go in Italy?
Man, we kind of took a trip. We were on a cruise, so we kind of touched all kinds of different places around. We're kind of on like the Croatia side. And we went, my favorite was Venice. When Venice. we landed in Venice, and then we ended up in Rome towards the end of it, and then I think we flew out of Florence. Florence was the final place we went to. So
nice. We were on the same side that you were talking about, but along the coast. So the region is called Puglia.
Okay.
So we flew into Naples and then had to rent a car and drive there.
Oh, that's cool.
Which the driving laws are insane. Like, they'll tell you, wide open stretch of road, you have to go 30 kilometers an hour, which is like 20 miles an hour. And all the Italians are flashing their lights at us and honking, which normally it's like, okay, just go the speed of traffic. But they have traffic cameras everywhere that are automated. And if you go 1 kilometer an hour over, you'll get ticketed for hundreds of euro. So you're basically just in constant fear of being caught on the cameras, foregoing a safe speed. So you have to follow their weird, like 30 kilometers an hour on a wide open stretch. And then you get into a crowded down, like old historic center of a town where there's people walking in the streets, and it's 50 kilometers an hour.
Absolute madness, man.
Like I was saying, it's literally to the point where like it seems like it was like someone randomly assigned the speed limits, like genuinely random. Yeah. And so it kind of ruined our trip, where like the whole time, anytime we drive anywhere, we were just terrified of getting a ticket. And like on the way back to the airport, we were following the speed limit, which was so slow that we're getting like honked at to go faster by like big rigs and tour buses.
Oh my gosh.
That's how slow it was.
Sheesh. Do they do a good job of having things posted, like the speed limits and stuff? Or is that something that, you know, because like you can get like on Google Maps, it'll tell you like, what
they post them.
Is. Like,
do they? But they just don't make a lot of sense. So you're constantly kind of driving at an unsafe speed to follow the speed limit in case there's a camera nearby. But it's like everybody else is road raging at you basically because you're going so slow. So you're like, okay, do I drive safe with the speed of traffic and get $1,000 worth of tickets a year from now? Or do I follow the speed limit and have people screaming at me the whole time?
That's crazy. Yeah, we did not drive while we were over there. We were on the boat most of the time, but then we were on the train quite a bit, which that was beautiful. You know, going through the countryside on the train and stuff. And then when we went to Rome, Florence, you know, different places like that, we were getting the Ubers and stuff, and they're all they'll swarm you if they even remotely think you want a car.
Like the taxis and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it was nice. Like we didn't ever have to really worry about it, but and then Venice, you guys did not.
No, we didn't go to Venice.
So Venice, with it being like an assortment of islands that are just scattered along, there was a couple, like you basically, the public transit was just like this big boat that would go from stop to stop to stop, just like a bus would.
It's kind of interesting.
We got to the later part of the night, and we had dinner, and we were going, and we were waiting on the bus to come, and I realized like everything's closed, and dude, I had to use the bathroom. I'm freaking out, and we're sitting there. This is, dude, I'm not even kidding. It was like the most like Bond-esque feeling in the world, where he's sitting there on the dock in his boat, like he's at the wheel, so to speak, feet up on the dash, smoking a cigar, And he's just like, hey, I'm right here. I can take you right now. We can cut straight across. We gotta do that. And as I'm sitting here, I'm just like, he wasn't saying anything. He was just like looking at us, waiting on the thing. I look at my wife. I'm like, I know we bought these tickets, like the public transit tickets. I was like, I'm getting on that thing. So we did. We were back to our hotel within 5 minutes. No crisis averted. It was perfect, but it did. Like I loved so much about it. There were so many more things I wanted to see, but we did not drive over
That's
there.
good.
I'm sure I would have
You
been
should
very
never.
stressed.
I don't recommend it.
Don't do it. Don't do it, y'all. So, hey guys, if you're enjoying the show, would you consider directly supporting today by becoming a member on YouTube? This is the #1 way that you can support the channel and make it clear that you appreciate the time and effort put in to produce the podcast on a weekly basis. We have a variety of levels that you can select from to support the channel, each with their own unique benefits. However, every member will have their name shown in the credits at the end of the next episode after they join. Thank you for your consideration, and let's get back to the episode. Okay, well, you touched on it briefly there, and I think my viewers would have me over on a stake above a flame or whatever if I did not ask you about the end of Destiny. Because it was such like a big part of your career, even though you've kind of like stepped away, whatever. I wanted to get your perspective on things. So from outside looking in, I know you got foot in, foot out. You're still friends, I'm sure, with people who are in. What has been your perspective with how things were handled? And then for timing purposes for viewers, we are recording the day after the announcement of the 300 to 400. We don't have an exact number at this point, but 300 to 400 Bungie devs have been laid off. So essentially the entire Destiny team, man. Like what's your perspective from, because I've been in the trenches too much. I'm very interested to talk to some people who've been like a little more removed from it.
My view was like when Final Shape came out, I had been wanting to be done with Destiny content for like 7 months or something, but I got to stick it out till the end of Destiny 2, because it's like, this is, so in my view, I wasn't like, I'm still hooked on it. We're going to get more stuff, right? I had the kind of clarity of like, this is the end. Like story wise, once you blow your load, like you can only do that once, like with the whole Avengers thing with Endgame and whatnot. You can't, it's like you build all this stuff up and then you blow your load and then that's it. So I was kind of like, after Final Shape, I viewed it as, this is basically the end of Destiny. There's nowhere for them to go from here besides niche little, I know like the big lore people are like, well, we have this story that's here, but within the main story that you can sell to millions of people, like the main story of Destiny had been tied up and finished basically, because all the advertising around the Final Shape is like, this is the end. So when it happened and I was like, okay, I'm going to go do variety stuff, they announced that they were going to do more content. And I'm like, I don't think that makes any sense. It felt like to me, like my equivalent of a YouTuber's perspective of like hanging around for variety, hanging around on one game for too long, where it's like, you've already done all the stuff. You don't need to make, if I'm making these big videos that try to like pack the theme of the whole game into one video, I don't need to make 10 of them. Like you make a couple and then sometimes you want to stick around because the videos are still doing so well, where you're like, there's still money to be made here.
Sure.
Which there is money to be made, but the story is done. So when I left and people were like, everybody else was sticking around, I was like, I don't know. In my view at that time, I was like, they should just say that was the end, because any amount of resources they put into making more stuff would be better used working on their next game, whether that's Destiny 3 or a different game. With like a Destiny 3, I don't know, like what story do you do, right? Because it's still the same problem of you built up the whole light and darkness thing and then it's over. So like, I'm sure they could come up with something, but you need to come up with something like big enough and interesting enough to do a full sequel. And it just seemed like all of the content they did for Destiny 2 after Final Shape was like sticking around too long, because they're like, well, the audience is still there and there's still money to be made and we still have all these developers, so like, let's just keep making stuff. But it just didn't hit the same way, because it kind of just felt like this off-brand, especially with Edge of Fate, the guy with the glasses,
Lodi.
I felt like that was like a Nintendo Mii character. Like, why is like they're supposed to look like sci-fi people. This just looks like a regular, which the story, I will admit, was cool. It was a good story, but it kind of felt like it broke the branding of Destiny a little bit. And then they did the whole Star Wars thing. And when I had come back for Edge of Fate, the whole menu was different. A lot of these changes were made. It was like, it's like I didn't recognize Destiny anymore. It's like a lot of it, like it looked like it got mobile gamified with like these weird decisions, and it was just confusing. And so it basically was just the saddest possible way to go out, because and it was so sad because they stuck around too long. It's like a film director that made some great movies, and then they try to make movies till they're 90 and they make some bad ones. Where it's like you got to know when it's time to move on, kind of. Not that they're not talented or something, but they need a new project. Like if it's a Destiny 3, it's got to be something that's different enough for making it to be worthwhile, I guess. Mm-hmm. And like, I just always imagine if they said the final shape, that was the last expansion, but we're working on Destiny 3, then people would be like, okay, yeah, like they don't need Destiny in their lives every day. You can go off for a couple years and play all these other games, because time moves so fast. If you know a Destiny 3 is coming, those 3 years or whatever, let's just say 4 years that it would take, are honestly gonna go by in a flash. Like 2022 was 4 years ago, and that feels like it was yesterday. So like, it was just kind of this lame. It's just sad. Like, you just watch it, and then the firing, like the layoffs. So it's like they just get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then, like I said, Edge of Fate was kind of the story with Lodi. Wasn't it revealed he was like Akora's husband or something? Am I crazy?
He worked at the same places, worked at the same agency back, in their original time.
That was like a really cool story, but I was also like, what the fuck? What do you mean a different time? It like kind of broke the my view of the Destiny universe or whatever. Like, there was a previous time where she was an office worker or whatever. What does that mean?
Well, you do realize that like all the human guardians were like real humans before the Ghost brought back, right? This
is the first time I'm hearing this. Well, regular humans within the Destiny. You talking about like from a previous time? Like,
so early, like that's why, like on the Cosmodrome, right, when our ghost in the original like thing, right, like the ghost is just looking through all the skeletons that are in the things, right, and it says like, oh, I found you, and then you hear like the ghost sound.
I guess I knew that, but
that's us like being resurrected, like from our skeleton, like being pulled.
I guess forward. I knew that, but I never made the connection that like, oh, that could, like, the person they're resurrecting, I thought was someone that had been dead for like 5 years, not like,
I see,
1,000 or whatever, where it's like, I'm an office worker from the 1950s or something.
Yeah, dude. That's why I think that there's so much good content. Like, can you imagine like the storylines they could put into? I always call out like a Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Like, give us like an anime-esque. I don't need like a full-blown anime, but like or it's under Sony now, so like a Sony Animations, like Into the Spider-Verse. Use the cachet they have for like the K-pop Demon Hunters, like just like all the animation stuff, like gravitas that they have under Sony, like to give us some sort of Destiny IP, some sort of continuation, some sort of stories from elsewhere within the universe, and not tie us to just, this story's from House of Wolves in Destiny. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, no, like there's real people that live, like the story from The Last City, and what's it look like to live in a world where you literally have all these zombie superheroes that are and kind of what you're getting to. Bife's idea for what a Destiny 3 could have been, and I love a lot, was like, hey, do you remember when we did Corridors of Time back in Season of Dawn, where you had to go through and put all the like the little like symbols together, and we were going through and we were saving Saint 14 that season?
I think so.
So anyways, it's like this white thing, but when you got to the end of the puzzle, the whole community had to come together, put a bunch of symbols together. When we got to the end, our Guardian's grave was there. And on that grave was the ergo sum sword. So that exotic sword we got during the final shape. And so Bife's opinion was, hey, let's actually have something to end Destiny 2 where we die. And then Destiny 3 begins with like our resurrection somehow, some way again, 400 years from now. Like a huge time jump,
yeah. That would be necessary to like shake it up enough.
Exactly.
To be worth doing. And then it's like you could have all these new bad guys.
Yep.
Rather than it being like, you know, if there was no time jump, it's like, okay, what? So right after you kill the witness, like some new powerful guy magically shows up 5 minutes later.
And it's like, that's what they were trying to go for. I think you nailed it on the head though, when you said like, it's the, my wife absolutely hates when I use this saying, but it's like, let a good thing be a good thing. Like if you're at a party, you're hanging out, you've had a great time, and people start going, well, you know, you start having that, don't try to start another board game or don't try to start a movie at that point. It's like, no, let's get the fuck out of here and let's go, you know, to what we're doing, and like be like, hey, you remember that night was freaking awesome that we didn't overstay our welcome and got Taco Bell on the way home or whatever you did, like because it's still early enough. It's like, leave before you overstay your welcome. And I think you're spot on where you're like, Destiny was just trying to grasp at straws. And I think the consumer base almost could feel it. Right, like you can almost feel the desperation. Like, hey, we really need you guys to play. Hey, you know that IP that a lot of you sci-fi nerds really loved. We're gonna throw an entire expansion called Renegades, and now it's Star Wars. But no, don't worry, it's Destiny. But
it felt so cheap. Where I'm like, bro, are you guys trying to sell like action figures? Why are we like Star Wars?
Yeah,
I guess it wasn't. It was definitely an indicator that they had nowhere else to go. Where it's like, okay, you're kind of diluting your own IP here by attaching it to something. Like, this is something that Fortnite does. This is not like, you don't really need to do this. And that's part of why like Destiny almost kind of became a little less interesting to me, is like in the beginning, there was so much mystery. It had a strictly defined art style with the armor style and everything. And now it's like, it kind of lost that a little bit. I don't know how long you've been playing for, but like the magic that Destiny had in the way that it was in 2014 is completely gone. It's a different thing now, and it's fun game to play, and there's still cool looking armor and all that, but it's like they had to make so many new armor sets that like the game just looks completely different. It looks closer to like I don't even know, like Warframe or something, where like you got all these crazy curly shoulder pads that are hot pink and a glowing Tron style chest piece with spikes on it. Like I miss like if you look at like a Destiny 1 reveal, the armor they had on the Warlock and the Warlock, the Hunter, and the Titan had like their own kind of defined styles where like I get it, it's been 10 years, things are going to look different, and maybe it's just nostalgia, but I kind of just miss the simplicity of Destiny, especially for like revisiting it. It's so complicated that if you try revisiting it, it's like I have no idea what any of these perks do or any of these attachments, or the skill tree is confusing. It's like they had to make it more complicated to keep the existing players around, but in the process it's like it's a little unrecognizable compared to what the kind of initial vision for it was.
I think that's a good way to put it. I played D1 vanilla when it launched, fell off like after the campaign, realizing that there wasn't much meat on the bone, so to speak. And I wasn't in the place where I could play, like could raid. I didn't have enough people that I was playing with, didn't even have a concept of what raiding was in any video game at that point. So bounced off of it, came back, actually did a platform change from PlayStation to Xbox for Rise of Iron.
So
my cousin had been over there, so I started playing with them, played that all the way through and haven't stopped playing since. So played Rise of Iron into D. I mean, we all took a break during Curse of Osiris. Came back for Warmind, and I have not stopped playing since then, basically. I think you've just nailed on the head, like, what my fear was, right? Like, I think when I'm too close to it, like, I can see what they were doing, right? Like, I could see what they were trying to implement with every episode that came after, the way that they were trying to tie in and they were trying to patch up some of the things. that were going on in the background, or these little side stories. And I didn't even mind that they had these final 3 seasonal, or they called them episodes. Like, it's like, I didn't mind that they wanted to tie up some storylines. And I don't know if you even played, but like episode Heresy, that was where we went back to the Dreadnought. And so they brought Oryx back, and he's like in this like ghost state, and we're talking to him, but it's old Oryx, like before he was the Taken King. So he didn't have all this context for, like, he didn't even know who Crota was. Like, he didn't have his son yet. And I thought that was a very interesting concept. The voice actor they had come in for Oryx, like, he was phenomenal. Like, he's tremendous. And they kind of like, there was some flavor text that came out about the season, and it made it sound like we were going to like take the Dreadnought, like our guardians were going to become like the like the drivers of the Dreadnought basically, and be able to use that. And it even gave an idea, like, for some reason in my head, it gave the idea of, oh, we're going to have the opportunity to leave the Sol system, like our solar system, and we're going to utilize some sort of technology on the Dreadnought for that. And that could potentially tie us to like a Destiny 3.
Oh,
that would have been like, that could have even been like
that
a
was
cool
your own
thing,
personal
right?
thought, or like people, like this was like people were actually like buying into this collectively.
Well, no. There was that was my personal like putting things together, but the terminology of like take the Dreadnought and become the Navigator. I think that's what they call it, because that's one of Oryx's nicknames, is the Navigator, like navigating systems with the Dreadnought and doing all this thing. So it's like, become the Navigator, like take the Dreadnought, all these things. I was like, dude, what if? But that was like such copium, right? Like, I see that. I saw it at the time, but I see it even clearly now, where it's like, dude, we're just grasping at straws. We're like trying our best to have it be something, right? And do that. And so you mentioned earlier, like, it being a bit of a waste of resources, right? Like, to continue putting money after bad, like, into Destiny 2 for this new stuff, for something that wasn't going somewhere. Now let's talk about the neon green elephant in the room, which is the other project that they're putting money into, Marathon.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with Marathon at this point? We're into season 2. I know you were traveling and stuff, so I'm not sure how much you've gotten your hands on with it, but like, how has that settled for you?
So, full transparency, the first Marathon video I did, which was from the server slam, was a sponsored video.
Okay.
But that was a sponsor I pursued. I was like,
interesting.
I talked to my agent basically, and I was like, hey, maybe this will get me in trouble. Hey, I'm gonna play this game anyways. Go
Sure.
get me a deal for it so I can get paid to put a video out for it. And when I first played it, I was kind of like, I don't know. It doesn't perform well. I'm getting like 70 frames per second. I slide twice and my character overheats. I can only run 20 feet and then my character overheats. The weapons felt clunky. I just felt slow overall. And I made a tweet about this that got me in trouble. I don't know if you saw it, but I basically said like that the extracts were boring.
Yes.
What I meant by that is...
You said it was the most offensive tweet.
Yeah. I mainly meant that they're not cinematic. So I was coming from Arc Raiders, where like the first thing that hooks you into it is within the first day you're playing it. If you play for a good amount on the first day, you'll have a run where it's like you're over encumbered. You can barely walk.
Yep.
There's sirens blaring. The 3-minute warning just hit the map, which is like a meteor that explodes on the map and shakes everything. And the birds are flying up and all the Ark get alerted. And you check the map and you just missed the extract next to you. So you got to run across the entire map as you're like limping, basically.
Sure.
And the Ark in that game are not, especially at the time, they're not just bullet sponges. You don't just shoot them. Like, there's a skill to it of having to hit the rotors while they're wobbling around, or else you're screwed, especially when it was new and you had like bad weapons. So you're running to this extract across the map with the music blaring, and when the Ark patrols are running by, you genuinely can't afford to be seen by them. It's not like, oh, this UESC saw me. Now we just have to shoot him twice in the head and he blows up. They were like terrifying because you knew, like, if you, with the weapons you had at the time and being over encumbered, if they saw you, there's a decent chance you're dead.
Yeah.
And you don't know if there's another team left because there's not a preset amount of teams. You don't know if they're also going to this final extract. If they are, you don't know if they're down to get out with you because they're full of stuff.
Sure.
It's the end of the game. They don't know. You don't know if they're going to lie to you about being down to work with you, but then they kill you. You don't know if you want to do the same to them. There's like all these little elements at play that you can't control. And then once you get to the extract, there's a rocketeer guarding it, which at the time you're not killing it. And especially being over encumbered, if it sees you, you are 100% dead. So like one of your boys goes down, you think he might be dead. If there's another team, they're gonna full kill him, but there's not. And then he crawls in and you can pull the lever inside from being downed.
Yes.
It was like everyone had that run that it was like a scene out of a movie that was like, oh my God, that was so awesome. But in Marathon, when you extract, it's like most of the time you show up to the extract station, there's nothing there. You activate it and then you sit around for a minute and then you just leave. And so it felt like I had these really, coming from Arc Raiders, I had these runs where I'm like, oh, this is a really good run so far. The ending's going to be crazy. And then you get to the end and it felt kind of like, oh, that was kind of like, it's like a movie with a bad ending where it's like, oh, I had a lot of fun. I was expecting the extracting to be kind of cooler than that, especially with the whole, it's like marathon, we're runners, escape will make me God. I was expecting like that part of it. And like, there's never any music playing when you're extracting, which was kind of, it felt like there's not a lot of presence of the music in that game that just doesn't make it, it makes it feel emptier. And that was kind of,
do you think that's a choice because they're trying to like not obstruct your like game sense if there is someone coming
that is very valid. The only thing I would say is that there's a music volume slider, so like
that's true.
I feel like by default it should be louder to hook you, to make you feel immersed, and then if you're like, hey, I can't really hear that well, then you turn it off. And so at the beginning I was kind of like, oh, this is pretty fun, but like I kind of knew like, oh, I don't think this is going to blow up. Like, I don't think it's going to, especially coming off the heels of Arc Raiders, which just blew up a few months prior. I was like, I don't think this has that same magic ingredient. People weren't talking on Prox chat. It just felt emptier compared to Arc. But the more I played and the more upgrades I unlocked and the better weapon attachments I got, I genuinely ended up, I love playing Marathon. Like commercially, it's not the most viable game. It's like not a super popular game, but I'm still, I made 2 huge projects on it. And in the first season, I had like 300 hours, which is like, I think it's like 100 hours less than I have in Arc Raiders in a shorter span of time. I know that I like a game if I can't peel myself off of it to edit for it. It's like, it's like, maybe okay, I'll hop on. Sure. I love it. I understand why some people don't like it. It makes me sad, honestly, the way that it's turned out, because it's a game that I really like the kind of aesthetic of, less so like all the rainbow stuff on the map, but like the UI, like in the whole like computer hacky green code rain sort of stuff. And all the characters and whatnot, I think is really cool. And like I said, I have a lot of fun playing it. So the more I see it just not do as well, it just makes me sad. And it makes me sad that it's kind of become the scapegoat for all the Destiny stuff, where like, it's probably true, right? That they're funneling so much money into Marathon, which if you're like a Destiny fan, I get it. Especially you're probably not thinking straight because you're angry, right? That your game's getting canned.
Wait, who could possibly be like shouting about this on the internet? Thinking straight about this.
Like, I get it, but I'm also like, I played Destiny for like 10 years or something. So like, I love Destiny. I was kind of already done playing it. So when we got this new Bungie first-person shooter project that's an extraction shooter, which is what I had just started playing with Arc Raiders.
Sure.
I really liked it. I honestly don't know what they could do to broaden the appeal of it. I've been kind of like thinking about what the problems were, like between the art theft controversy and leading up to Marathon coming out. They had already fired like half of Bungie's workforce. They halved it, right, in 2024, 5, something like that. And so it was kind of like all of the conditions were set to make Marathon being a success as difficult as possible. Yeah. Art theft, people hating Bungie because of the whole, Eververse. That the video that Astacross made went super nuclear in 2023. And what I think people don't realize is that when you have a video that's going to reach the broader internet, you've now painted Bungie and Destiny. Maybe it's accurate, but you've painted them in a terrible light to people that have very limited exposure to them. And so it's almost like if someone had a false accusation about a celebrity or something that turned out to be completely debunked. To a lot of people, when you mention that celebrity, it's like, wait, isn't that the insert thing that got? It's like that's just what happens when people aren't super closely kind of paying attention to a game. All they know is that Bungie is the evil monetization people that are scamming their fans. And then you hear about like the, deleted content thing where to some people, they view that as like they're evil. So they intentionally ripped away content that we bought just because they fucking hate us. Yeah. Not because the game was 200 gigabytes and like they probably had a very real problem of like, we can't put out updates quick enough because it was like anytime they would change something, there'd be problems with the whole game and they would have to go back and fix everything. And so it's like the bigger the game was, the harder that would be. And so they reached the point where it's like, this is a game that's had Destiny 1 had 3 years worth of content. This game has had like 10 years worth. Where it's like the game is too big. Realistically, with the amount of content they've put out, there should have been a Destiny 3 already, really. And so they're like, well, we have to get rid of something. What do we get rid of? Which sucks because I would love to be able to play everything. But I feel like I said, the broader gaming community, because of what some people have said, viewed it as like a deliberately evil move by Bungie because they hate everyone. And then with the monetization, because they hate everyone, maybe this is me being a corporate shill, but it seems like it's just because Destiny was so expensive to make that they couldn't even didn't it come out that they weren't even making their money back on expansion sales?
I mean, they certainly weren't meeting revenue goal or like budgets, like expectations, right? So like there's just been this cascading effect of negative press surrounding Sony and Bungie's relationship, right? Like they bought them for what, $3.7 billion or whatever it was. And then they've had to continually mark down the value of the company. So it's not that they've actually lost the amount of money that they've marked down, but like, oh, they're not as valuable as we thought they were. And then all this conversation around like, well, they brought Bungie in because they're the live service people. And like, it's like, well, okay, well, so then we don't get this Last of Us Factions game that literally was ready to go, like was going to be, probably like 2-3 months, and then was going to be released in this live service game in Last of Us. And Bungie came in and told Naughty Dog, hey, you do not want to do this. Like you can do this, but if you do, like your entire studio is going to be completely overwhelmed with the fact that you have to keep this thing going. And Neil Druckmann and team said, fuck that. Like, we don't want that. And probably rightfully so for them as a company. And so Bungie like led them there, but they're okay. So we've now lost all this time, this money, resources that went into that. And then there's the Concord thing where you always just have in the back of your mind, right? Like that Bungie is the one we have no clue, right? Like we have no full clue of like how integral Bungie has always been with this live service stuff. But again, it's what you said, like the things that go viral paint the picture, right? Like if it's a blank canvas, like you're putting things up there. So then the same people that are now screaming about Marathon existing and Destiny being dead and all these things are just like you said. They're the same ones who painted it in that corner for years for the views, right? Like for money to do whatever. And I'm not saying that anything in those videos was wrong, but there are just like there's consequences to actions, right? And so
I think that's what people don't realize with those videos that farm negative sentiment is that the people that make them will say, well, I was just being honest. But it was like,
sure,
bro, that's your 10th video talking about the same shit. And if we're being honest, we all know as YouTubers what will get views. And you know that there are certain videos and titles you can put out that's like pulling the make it rain lever, where you know that the instant you put out that video, it's going to be 1 out of 10, solid green, solid green, solid green on all the statistics. If you say something to the effect of, like if I said before going on vacation or something, I made a video saying, I've decided to leave. Oh my God, he's leaving YouTube. And those videos will go nuclear. Like if normally in the first hour, a good stat is like 10,000 views in an hour. That's pretty good for me. There are certain videos you can make that will get 30,000. Like they'll blow it out of the water. And the videos that do that are the ones where you put Destiny 2 on fire in the thumbnail with the Traveler exploding with like a Bungie CEO.
It's the Bungie logo AI slopped into like crumbling on a concrete slab with like blood coming out of it. So, like I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like, maybe the content of the video is true that, hey, there's problems X, Y, and Z that need to be addressed. But like if you've already, like you're just beating a dead horse for the sake of ad revenue. And the message has already been heard. You don't need to say it 5 times, but all you're doing is those videos end up having a broad reach and people see them on their homepage. The end of Bungie. Bungie's in serious trouble. I can't believe Destiny 2 would do this. And so it's like the only thing that people see if they're not part of the Destiny community is basically that it fucking sucks. That Destiny sucks. It's evil. Bungie sucks and they're evil. And so like, do you think Destiny is going to look appealing to those people? They're like, no. And so especially when you hear, oh, Bungie's making a new game called Marathon, they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to support that. Bungie's the evil money studio, which we don't know the specifics of. Like maybe there was a time where like they were making money hand over fist anyways, and they still ripped people off for stuff in some way. I don't know.
Sure.
But it seems like it's more just that making Destiny is like freakishly expensive. And so they had to find ways where like, we know we can't charge $70 for this DLC, even though maybe that's what they would have to charge to make a profit on the amount of off paying 1,200 people for 4 months to make it. So they're like, well, we got to do Eververse stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like the microtransaction prices in every game suck. It's basically like a glorified tipping area for the game developer, where it's like, hey, we sold you this game for $40, but you can buy this outfit for $20. Like that value proposition makes no sense anywhere. It's more just like I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, like I haven't seen almost any game where the microtransactions are actually like, oh, this is actually really fair.
Sure.
Especially because Destiny's it's like Destiny the base game was free to play, right? But then you have to buy all these DLCs, and I don't know. It's so complicated. Them having put out so much content for one game over the course of 10 years. There's so many expansions to buy. It's just confusing.
It is. Yes, it is. I think this may be a controversial thing, but this was a funny, like when I talk microtransactions, this was a funny thing that pops in my head. So my wife, she probably 4 or 5 years ago, she got really into like third-person action adventure games. So we're thinking, she liked playing God of War. I did have to be the Valkyries for because she was not about that bullshit. But she got really, really into like the new suite of Assassin's Creed games, starting with Origins and then into Odyssey. And I think she got to like Valhalla or something like that. And she was playing through it and she was like, hey, I was online. She like came to my office door. I was working on something. And she kind of like had her hands together, like, "Hey, I have a deal for you." But the deal was just me giving her the credit card so she could spend money on microtransactions. She's like, "I'm having a lot of trouble finding these things, and it's really annoying. But I like to 100% these games. There's a microtransaction that I can spend in this game that's like a single person story game, like whatever." She's like, "I just don't want to go through and find all these statues or whatever the fuck it was." And I was like, "Okay, well, how much is it?" It was like $2. I'm like, "Yes, go spend the $2 that is half of that Starbucks drink you would." That's just what pops in my mind, because it's like, it's always like the value is to whoever. Like if someone's like, "Oh my God, like I love the collection. Like I'm never going to do that for all the Korok seeds and Breath of the Wild." Like, whatever, even though I prayed Nintendo would never do that. It doesn't matter if someone else would spend it. That's fine. And I think that's why I like the way you put it, which is like viewing it as like a tipping system where you're like, "Hey, if you're enjoying this game and you want to look cool and you vibe with this, and like, yeah, it's going to be a little pricey, but you don't have to get it, right?"
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do it and interface with it. And yeah, I think there's a lot of levels to it.
I also want to be clear that I'm not like, "Fuck Destiny, I would just throw it to the curb, like it doesn't mean anything to me." I had this moment where, like, when they announced that it was reaching end of service, my first reaction was kind of like, oh, I mean, like the writing's kind of been on the wall. But then after like a day, it sunk in that like there's no more, like Destiny's, it's not paused really, it's done. And like there's no like this is what I've been doing for 10 years, and it started because of the reason I started making YouTube videos was I was so obsessed with the game that my parents were not going to let me play it all the time, so that the way I could stay closer to it while I was not playing was I could make videos about it. And I was hooked on Destiny like 2 years before it even came out. When my friend told me about it and I saw like the E3 trailer reveal or whatever, I was so obsessed with it that I had an iPod Nano and I downloaded the gameplay reveal and put it on my iPod Nano and I watched it. I would watch it like at school if I had a moment or whatever. I was so like enamored by it. I would watch it. I probably watched that video like 50 times or something. And so I'm not like, well, fuck it, like it sucks, too bad. Like it's been very sad for me. I haven't returned to it to play it. In large part because when that final update came out, I had just left for a 2-week vacation. So I was kind of like, well, I'm kind of missing the boat on this. Everybody's already posting all of this nostalgic stuff. I've been gone for 2 years. It kind of felt like I would just be hopping on the bandwagon because that stuff gets it does really well. So I didn't want people to think I was like farming it for impressions after I had left it or whatever. And it's even sadder hearing the news about firing all these people. One, because they're losing their jobs, but also because you can't put them back in the box. Like the people that worked on Bungie, is their fingerprint is what made the game feel the way it felt, and they're gone. So if they make another Destiny 3 at some point, if that even happens, maybe it'll be great, but it'll never be the same, because the people working on it, literally from the sounds of it, all of them, not, hey, we lost a couple people, but like the core is still there. It's like completely decimated, scattered to the wind. They're gone. And so it's almost like, besides the Marathon team, I guess that's the cope, is that like Marathon still very much feels like a Bungie game. And they seemingly have most of the people on that team still.
Yeah.
And so that means there's some part of Bungie left. And a lot of those people obviously used to work on Destiny. But it's just crazy that and crazy for them that group of people working together will likely never exist ever again. I'm thinking is there some reality where in 3 years they greenlight Destiny game where they go out, reach back out to these people and say, we want to give you your job back? Or is it just done?
There have been stories. I don't know how you could possibly do that many people, but there have certainly been stories where game devs or companies, right? Like they've laid people off, and then they realize like, oh my God, that was a core tenant. Like that was a pillar individual here at our company. And they have to go back, and sometimes they end up paying them double the salary that they were paying before. Just to get them back, man. And there's a lot. I don't know if you've seen his videos recently. Jason Schreier,
I've watched a
journalist.
few of them. Yeah,
dude, they're great. They're great. They're like, I love. He has 2 books that are phenomenal. I think Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and then he has one called Play Nice. Blood, Sweat, and Pixels is just like a series of stories about like game development and how difficult it is behind the scenes. Destiny is in there, like Destiny 1 is in there. Absolutely worth. Just like the audiobook was fantastic because I fall asleep if I actually read it. And then Play Nice was all about Blizzard. So World of Warcraft, Overwatch, everything in the background.
Similar kind of path for Blizzard.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not put down Play Nice. Again, it was audiobook, but I listened to it in like 2 days, dude. Like ripped through the entire thing. Both are incredible. So when I saw he was doing YouTube, which I love the fact that we're in this era of YouTube where people can just like grab one of the static images from the, like YouTube's recommended like talking head things and put that as your thumbnail. And it actually is just like he has the cultural cachet in the gaming space to know like, okay, this dude actually knows what he's talking about. But yeah, he talks about like the cost of gaming, the making games, right? Obviously the cost of gaming is inflating,
and we've been paying the same amount for games for like I remember when I was a little kid, them still being $60. So I was almost curious, like how long have they been $60 for?
I mean, we just found out this week GTA 6 is going to be $80 or $79.99 at launch, and then the $100 ultimate version of it. And I saw that Tassie, I think he put out a poll on Twitter, and he was just asking, like, what are you going to buy? Are you going to buy the $80 or $100? I think 76% of respondents, and there was like over 1,000, said that they would do the $100 one for a game like that.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think
sense.
that there's a level where like these gaming companies, like if it's going to be one of the few games that someone is buying in a year, like the average player does not, or the average person cannot afford or cannot buy like hundreds of games every year, right? So like I remember I was super into Guitar Hero when it was, when it was back in the day. And I remember like saving up for like Guitar Hero 3 and that being like one of the 2 games I was getting that year, like one for my birthday. And then like if I saved up my money, I could get another one there, and then maybe one squeak out for Christmas as well. But it's just like that's some people, that's their reality, man, and doing that. And so trying to say like, hey, is Marathon a game that has more than $40 worth of polish and work and put into it? I absolutely think it is.
Bro, people will spend $40 getting burgers delivered to their house. I don't know. I feel weird saying this because it's like, oh, you corporate shill. But like video games have been $60 since like the early 2000s. So if you use the inflation calculator for 2005, $60 games then would cost $103 now.
Yeah.
And like, I just don't get, it seems to be like this weird, like, I don't even know what the term would be, but this weird stigma or something around like the $60, a $60 game should shine my shoes and change the oil in my car or something. It's like, maybe it's because I live in California where everything's way more expensive and you get paid more to compensate for that. But like, I feel like $60 is for the amount of time you get out of these games is like very reasonable.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think so as well. And I do want to be sensitive to understanding like different people are in different places, but that doesn't talk about, again, like as long as you're not the person who, in your example, is spending, $50 on DoorDash tonight, and then complaining that Marathon costs $40 to try to get your friend in there. It's like, well, if you really want that friend to play that game, it's like, well, let's make some burgers at home and buy that game for them. You know what I mean?
I guess it's like the thing where everybody's income and like amount of extra spending they have is so low now because of like wage crisis or whatever, where it's like the $60 seems like a lot because of how underpaid everybody is. But when you calculate for inflation, like I said, why did 20 years ago $60 for a video game be like, yeah, it's $60? Like It's because there was more money to go around in the first place. So I get, and you don't want to give companies permission to be like, charge me $150, daddy. Like, you know, whatever you want. So you always want to like fight for it to be a fair price. But I also, you know, when people, especially like DLCs, like when a DLC is $20, when they lose their minds about it, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for a game like Destiny, right? You had EverQuest in the early days, World of Warcraft, like these games that had subscription services, monthly revenue that would come in like $10 a month, and you were getting specific stuff or access or whatever. And it's not all about the money, right? Like money makes everything work, right? Like the dollars, if the dollars don't make sense, like you're not going to be able to pull it together. But if you had like a recurring revenue, or you knew, right? Like if Bungie knew that they put out, one of the things I've called out is like, why didn't they just take Destiny and turn it into a non-live service game? Do like what Remnant 2 or they're completely different games, but like an Elden Ring, which like, hey, we don't know if we're ever going to get anything else in here. Oh my God, they dropped Shadow of the Erd Tree. We had no idea this was coming. Like, this is the best thing ever. But like, we're not expecting something new in this world, right? It's like, if we get a DLC for it, that's awesome. But this Game Awards, like if we hear there's an announcement from Bungie, it could be a new expansion for Destiny 2. It could be Destiny 3. It could be Destiny ODST, whatever like spin-off game they want to do, but they can go different places. But when they have themselves so boxed in, you have the recurring expenses, right, of all of these staffers, right? Like every developer, but you don't have any recurring revenue coming in. And I just wonder if they had been like, hey, we're going to do this so that we can smooth it over for stockholders, for, you know, for shareholders rather, for, you know, budgetary reasons. We can know like, hey, we have 400, 500, 600,000 monthly active users who play Destiny 2. They pay $9.99 a month as a recurring thing. You're saying right now that doesn't move the needle in some way, and like, okay, well, that is recurring things we can trust on. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just like, you know, I'm naive to that, but that feels like something that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's all hindsight, right? Like we're standing on the other side of it. So.
Trying to make it make sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't. So, well, any other thoughts on the state of Bungie, the end of Destiny, all that stuff?
No, I would say I hope blank, but I don't know. Like what do I hope? The team literally doesn't exist anymore. So, basically, it just sucks.
Yeah, there's been people kicking around like, can someone else buy the IP and stuff? But I think you've nailed it on the head. It's not like the world of Destiny is awesome, but like there's no other game that does raids. There's no like this, right? Like there are games that try to touch on it, and everyone's been clamoring, saying like, you know, oh my God, what if the Warframe team picked up a lot of these raid and dungeon team devs and brought that to Warframe and stuff? I'm like, there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, not as simple.
Yeah. Not as simple as I think we all would love it to be, but we'll continue sending our thoughts and, you know, good vibes out to the team and those who have been affected. So, all right. Well, I have a rapid fire closing segment, if that's cool with you. We'll touch on here, and just a few questions for you. One that's been a bit contentious, but I've asked other quote unquote old heads or OGs, whatever you want to call it. And I have to ask you as well, because I don't know if you've seen this, but like we'll get to that here in just a second. So one question real quick, out of every game you covered on your channel, what has been the hardest to make consistent content for? And what has come the most naturally? Like what surprised you with how easy it was to put the videos together?
The hardest is Marathon.
Okay.
One, because it's an extraction shooter, so the pace of things happening is slow. So like, there's not a lot. It's still entertaining, but there's not a lot of recordable things that happen.
Sure.
And what makes it so hard is right where my subtitles go, right near it, all these UI things pop up, and it makes it look super sloppy.
I see.
So, like, you'll notice if I have subtitles on the screen while I'm like in a fight with someone and all these XP things are popping up, there's a lot of zooms and whatnots of changing the image so that the subtitles don't overlap with stuff. And it makes it so different. That's why that marathon video was like the longest project I've made, because it takes so many hours to record. It took a ton of hours to edit for the reasons I mentioned. And then designing the thumbnail was super hard, because normally I put like an armor set and a helmet or a hat from the game or whatever on a meme, but none of the characters, all the characters' faces are all like fucking weird with like the only person I can even do that with is Thief, because they have a regular face.
Yeah.
Vandal's got like plastic hair with black cube earphones. So like basically normally I designed the thumbnail for my main channel and my second channel. Normally that takes like, on the high end, like the long end, can take 7 or 8 hours. If it's quick, like 4 hours. It took me like 2 full days designing marathon thumbnails for each video, because I couldn't get them to look good. Like they just, every concept I would come up with, they just looked horrible. So I kept having to redo it. And then the easiest was Marvel Rivals, because there's so much material there with all of the characters. All the characters are so iconic that it's easy to make jokes about them. The pace of things happening is so fast. You get put in games with like the whole procs rage sort of thing that happens in Arc Raiders or Marathon. That happens just within your own team, within like team chat.
Sure.
Marathon or Marvel Rivals is like, I think at this point I've made like 10 videos for it or something. I made a lot, 10 or 11, and I have 470 hours. I made 4 Arc Raiders videos, and I've played it for longer. So
wow.
470 hours got me 11 Marvel Rivals videos. It got me 4 Arc Raiders videos. So it's like, I don't really have to play it that much.
Flipping back or turning back the clock a little bit, what is your favorite PvP meta that we ever received in Destiny's history?
Year 1, Destiny 1, Thorn, Matador, or Matador might have been after that. Thorn, Fellwinter, Arc Bolt. You remember Arc Bolt, Thorn?
I don't. I wasn't playing.
Okay, so literally all you have to do was might have been a headshot. It was one Thorn headshot, and the Arc Bolt hitting somebody would kill someone. They would burn out. And the Arc Bolt radius was like the size of Earth. So it was like you just shoot someone. Like say if you're fighting around a corner, you peek, you shoot them once in the head, you just throw an arc bolt at the ground, and then they die.
Yeah. Honestly, whenever I ask the question about like favorite metas and things like that to people on it's never a D2. Like if I say the whole span of D1 to D2,
Spare
it's
rations,
always something.
In Destiny 2, I really liked that meta. Spare rations, Beloved. I thought that was the closest. That was like the most fun I had in Destiny 2, for sure. Nice.
Okay, I have to ask, do you ever talk to Fancy? And
Fancy,
so,
he messages me.
Yeah,
he's like, I got a job now. He's like a he's a man now. He's like 19.
He's a man.
Or something. Yeah,
Fancy.
He messaged me when they announced that Destiny got like canned, basically.
Sure.
He said, "Bro, I miss the old days."
How much? So like, I don't remember. I don't even remember everything that came around that. But like, how much did he know? Like, with the videos, with like, obviously he probably knew you were recording the videos and what you were doing with that. But like, can you give us any behind the scenes on like how because I loved those videos so much. Like you guys playing together.
He knew after the first one. I don't know if I told him or if like people started messaging him. If you remember the Ronin Warriors clan, like
yes, yeah.
So that was like his thing. So like he was really excited because there were so many people applying to join it that it eventually got full. It did kind of turn into this weird thing where because he's kind of like a gullible kid, where from my view there were a lot of people that were kind of like using him to get to me, kind of.
I see.
Where like they would join, and I think Fancy would kind of think that they're like best friends or whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's tough.
when I would like join, it was like the person that had joined would just be really weird. Like really kind of like, hey Driss, hey Driss this, Driss that. We're like,
sure.
Like it was like, it kind of seemed like they were doing that, which was not the best.
Yeah, just kind of an unfortunate consequence of.
Yeah, but he loved having the clan and running it, and he made like a Discord for it and everything. But then
cool,
he got like a job, and I think he got his like GED, or he like graduated early with his GED or something.
Oh, really?
I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, he had kind of a rough like home situation.
I see.
I remember his sister wanted to use his PlayStation when I was in the middle of recording a video, and I was basically like, what's it going to take to get her to let you keep playing the PlayStation? So he gave me his address, and I DoorDashed his whole family like 4 pizzas from Pizza Hut. It was like 4 pizzas, two large sodas, like the 2-liter sodas, garlic bread. So that was kind of funny.
They said throw in some chicken wings and you get an extra 30
just
minutes.
Like, leave him alone. I'll get you whatever you want. We just got to finish this raid.
You know, I've actually thought about that sometimes. Like if you needed people, not you in particular, but just like in general, if you need someone so desperately for content, you're like, I promise you, like I will send you like food. We'll do whatever, but I need you here. You know, those conversations. So
usually the way that manifests is like, hey, I want to play this game for a video. And the guy being like, hey, I know we're going to play this for like a couple weeks. I don't want to spend $60 on this. So the most common thing is just me buying the game for whoever I'm recording with.
I think that's fair. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, but like if you really were dependent, I guess your content now is like super dependent. If they were not planning on it, but they're like, hey, I would do this for you. You know, it's one of those things. Well, yeah, from time to time those videos pop into my head because they were some of the more wholesome, you know, pieces there that kind of pop up when I'm flipping back through my head. I don't watch a ton of PvP specific videos, so like you know, carrying them in trials and stuff that kind of pops into my head sometimes.
Have you ever heard of Outlander? The
Ukrainian
guy? Oh, he was another classic fancy-esque character that I met in LFG that was.
Oh, really?
Was like really broken.
I've probably
English.
seen it. I don't remember it, but I've probably seen it then.
He has really broken English. And he talk like this, or he'll say Dries. Anyways, he's really funny, but he lives in Ukraine, and he disappeared for a few months because like basically the government like captured him and was trying to get him to go to war for them.
Crap.
And he was like basically detained for like a couple of months, and then they let him go eventually. I don't remember why.
Wow.
But yeah, he like lives in the like Ukrainian countryside. He's kind of another popular character, if you will, that I met while playing.
Sure. So you occasionally hear from some of these guys, like the people you've connected with from the past?
Yeah, I try to. It's hard because he doesn't like PvP games, and he's in Ukraine, so it's like if we're playing a more serious game, he's gonna have 200 ping or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played like Darktide with him. Couple other played Overwatch with him. I'd like to do that more, like get all those people that I had those sort of like relationships with in Destiny, and I try to keep everyone together and playing still.
Do you think there's a world where you could play some of these other like these variety games, these PvP games with some people you've collaborated with in the past from the Destiny side?
Like YouTubers?
Yeah,
I think so. I think the only problem with that is, like I said, the whole like point of like my current video style is for it to be like we're just playing. Like it's not a recording session to me. It's just
that's fair.
We're just playing, and so like, you know, there are a lot of times where I'm playing and we're just sitting in the menu and I'm talking like this, like I'm tired.
Sure.
There's no need to project your voice and try to make it a show or whatever.
That's fair. Yeah.
And that is not other people's style. Their style is I'm hopping on for an hour. I'm doing a SirD collab. We're going to play for an hour and I'm going to make a full video about that. And so like, it almost ends up being kind of annoying where like, I'm just trying to play, but to the other person, they're trying to make it into a show, which I understand because that was me for a long time. But it's like, we're playing and it's like we kill one guy in the most ordinary way, and they're like freaking out about it and making jokes where you're kind of like, relax, bro. We're just playing. So that's why all the people I play with don't end up being YouTubers. They're just regular people.
That is actually very interesting there, because I didn't even think about that. It also makes me wonder how much damn footage you actually have if like you aren't like you guys aren't like bombastic for every kill, things like this, because the way you splice everything together makes it feel like the entire session was the most exhausting thing ever, because the emotions are running so high, and just full tilt the entire time.
That's why they think that the people I play with are so crazy, because they're constantly super like freaking out or yelling or angry or whatever, because those are 4 moments that happened over 100 hours. But those are the things that get recorded. Like
I would have had that wrong. I would have had that wrong too. I would have assumed otherwise.
Each video is like I said, I record in clips, so I try to get between 150 and 200 clips recorded, and then once I load them into their own project file and I sort them. So this is a funny gameplay moment, which means it's not something we said. It's something that happened on the screen that was funny. This was a funny commentary moment, so it has nothing to do with the game. It's just something funny we said. And then a quick highlight section that's like a gameplay highlight that happens super quick, like a boom, 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 quadruple kill or something. So that would lend itself to like being placed in a montage because it happens in a short window of time. Then you have a long highlight section that is good gameplay, but it's like 40 seconds long or something. And then a skits section, which is like its own self-contained thing that should be presented by itself, not in a, compiled with other stuff with like, pick uniform music and slot it in this 2-minute segment. It's like it should have its own thing with probably a punchline of sorts.
Sure.
And then there's a recurring themes section. So like something that happens over and over and over that's kind of like a defining thing of that recording session. Like, did you watch any of the marathon videos?
I have, yes.
So like, during like Logan, the guy with the yellow
with
text,
overflow.
Well, yeah, like overflow, right? So that would go under recurring because he
just keeps spamming it.
All those clips happen from like a month worth of recording. So like,
oh really?
Okay, so so that recurring section is going to be Logan always wanting to go to overflow, or
constant,
or Logan saying like evil shit after killing somebody, or all of the sections where people say crazy stuff on Prox chat, and then that way it's kind of like that's my palette, if you will, while I'm editing. Where the biggest thing that takes the longest is choosing what I want to show and when. Because like if you have a joke that's really, really funny as a quick punchline, but there's context needed for that joke that takes a long time to explain, maybe you want to put that really, really funny thing at the beginning of the video, but people won't understand it. So you have to make sure that you if there's a joke that requires some sort of context, that you include that previously in the video at some point. It's not even right before, but you have to establish it at some point before you show that clip, or else it makes no sense. So that kind of dictates a lot of the choices of when I place something in the video.
I had noticed that there were a couple of times in the video where you're like, yeah, this got cut off, but this was what, this is the context, where you like actually have to verbalize.
Yeah.
And that made me wonder what your actual like recording process
was. So sometimes it'll not be, it's like it only records the last 4 minutes. So sometimes a situation will last so long that like I go back and the beginning of the interaction isn't even there. So I have to say, okay, this is what happened. Or just in those extraction shooters, like they're so slow paced that you might have to explain something that happened at the beginning of the match or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, a little differently here to close out, and this is what I was referencing earlier. So I starting with Dado a couple weeks ago, and then with Bife as well. Okay, so I put them both on the hot seat, and I'm going to do it to you as well.
Okay.
In a slightly different way. So I've had the chance to interview them, and I asked them, now that we've come to the completion of Destiny, we've come to the end, I've asked them specifically who is on their Mount Rushmore of Destiny content.
No.
Okay. So Dado, I'll give you this frame of reference. Dado went founding fathers. Okay. So I said, Dado, you're on there. Like, you're on there. Bife's on there. And the reason I was so excited to do this as well is in the comments section, like, everyone starts giving theirs, and your name continuously pops up along with some other people that we're going to have
in the comments or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people will be like, hey, here's mine. Here's who I've loved watching over the years, and like your name will pop up in those comments, like on TikTok or Instagram, whatever, where I post the shorts going out. And we got other people coming soon. Little spoiler for you guys that have been in those comments as well. But I'll ask this a little differently of you, because Data went founding fathers, Bife went largest impact, so they didn't want to cover the same way. Here's how I'll put it for you: you're on the team. If you had to assemble the greatest six stack in the history of Destiny, across the board, you're going across all games. The players are in their prime, so I'm not saying how they are today, whatever. Prime six stack. Who's joining you on that team?
You're not even going to recognize any of these people. But
that's all right. That's all right.
Six stack, probably. So they'd be on the team with me. So me and 5 other people.
Yes. Okay. Yep. You are on the team. So who are the other 5 that you're trying to bring in with you?
Would be,
and if you have in mind like why you would bring them on, like, hey, this person's really good,
so damn,
this is the one thing that I thought, I was like, maybe I should send a little prep
ahead
of time,
12 slots. I would say so me, Walla, if you didn't know, Walla and I competed together. That's how he got brought into the fold. Is I recruited him to IM, which was the clan I was in at the time, and we won a lot of tournaments together. So me, him, AE Gabriel. Have you heard of him?
I've not.
Oh my God. So he was the guy who invented Titan skating.
Really?
And he was the best Titan player in Destiny 1. Like, it's not even like, oh, I like this YouTuber that killed a lot of people in trials and he played Titan. Like, I can assure you that he was the best, because he played in tournaments and stuff. And like when I would play against him, he'd whoop my ass.
Sure.
Like, this was the best Titan player of Destiny 1. So me, Walla, him, War Bulletproof. Have you heard of him?
I've not. No.
Okay, so similar thing. He was the best for probably a year and a half. He was the best sniper in tournament play. So he would run Sunsinger Warlock. Okay. Sunsinger Warlock in a meta in Destiny 1 where it was all blink shotgun in like tournaments and stuff. And yeah, he was bar none the best, where like I had a stint of time where results wise I was the best. It was like early year 3, and all of that came from kind of emulating how he plays. Probably Pashi. Have you heard of Pashi?
I do not recognize that name either.
These are the Mount Rushmore founding fathers of the original tournament.
This is awesome, man.
Tournament scene of like year 1 Destiny 1.
And we're gonna put stuff up on screen for this. Okay. So I have no issue like these people getting shouted out, because we're gonna.
And he was Pashi was like a very popular streamer too. I think he had the world record. He had like 77 kills in a Destiny 1.
When I just searched Pashi Destiny, I see a video, PvP tournament, where it looks like he was on your team.
Oh, really?
With that, yeah. So there was a thing. But yeah, I found his channel as well.
He was another kind of Mount Rushmore sort of person of a year 1 PvP, but he kept playing, not as much, but he was just always just one of those people that it's like you scratch your head trying to kill him, kind of, where like there are players that are like considered good players that it's like, yeah, they're good, but I can beat them and like kill. It's not like killing them is that hard. Him, Gabriel, War Bulletproof. These are all people that like just you could win against them, but it's like when you're just killing them felt like killing a raid boss. It was like so hard. It's like they didn't give you an inch. It's like even when it was a 2v1 or whatever, they would squeak out a kill on you or whatever. It's just
Sorry, I am listening, but I just saw the sickest clip ever of AE Gabriel hitting a sparrow flip into a Titan smash on when he was playing. I I think it was just control or whatever, but like one of the big maps where you can take his sparrow out, and it was nasty. So yeah, you're not messing around. These guys are, I don't know where they're at. I don't know what they're doing, if they're still playing Destiny or if they're still playing games at all.
No, they're not. So if you want to look at old Gabe clips, he changed his Twitch name to Gooby. Gooby.
Interesting.
And you can see some like crazy Titan skate. On Rusted Lands, the part of the map with the water.
Oh yeah.
So there's like a lane on that left side that goes to the other side of the map where he would just fly down it at like 100 miles per hour and like turn around, kill someone with a shotgun. It was just the craziest stuff.
Literally just one question left. So
I've
been sitting here watching
one more person on my team.
Oh, you do. Sorry, I've been sitting here. I got lost in the sauce because I've been watching Gooby. I think his fucking Twitch clips are crazy.
And this is like on controller, so they feel kind of slow now because like the standard is watching mouse and keyboard.
He's flying. His skating, you are not messing.
And this is
around.
low FOV. Like he was going like when you play against him, it was like a rocket passing by your screen.
Where are we at with your team? We got you on there.
Me, Walla, AE Gabriel, War Bulletproof. WTF is Pashi.
Okay.
And then for the last one, I would probably pick Lil Sonic. Maybe you've heard of Lil Sonic?
Yes.
Okay, finally. so
exposing the limited knowledge that I have. Yes, I know Lil Sonic.
So keep in mind that this is because like I didn't do any real like tournament anything in Destiny 2. So when it comes to like my experience playing in a competitive setting against other people, the pool of people I have to pick from are not probably a lot of the people that you would think, like a Panda or whoever that would be in the Destiny 2 scene. But Lil Sonic was another person that I played with in tournaments, and when you play against is one of those people that just feels like impossible to kill sometimes.
Yeah.
So maybe this isn't even the best team, but it's the team full of people that besides Walla, I have the hardest time playing against, or that feel like the best players I've played against.
I'm gonna be asking a similar question. We're over 2 hours into the podcast at this point, and thanks again for your time, man. But I'm gonna be asking this question here pretty soon here on the podcast, and I think he will have a much more analytical and probably like we'll patch the team together with like. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I imagine that he'd be like, okay, this is how this person will support this. I love the fact that you're like, hey, I'm a throw 6 gamers together, like the absolute like demons that I struggled to kill and use that as a bar, a frame of reference. So I think that's awesome. The last question I have for you here, what is your favorite exotic weapon across all of Destiny's history?
That's tough.
Mm-hmm. So it could be, there's not much more to it. What stands out to you if you're thinking like exotics in Destiny? Hey, I got to tell this person about this, or like, this is something I would like to have, like I got like a Fatebringer over my shoulder here because that's my favorite legendary. But
I would say the most kind of like iconic exotic for me was the Last Word.
Okay.
Because I remember right when Destiny 1 came out, it's like I wasn't really watching videos about stuff. So I was pulling an all-nighter with my friend who was the person that introduced Destiny to me. And so when we would get exotics, it was not like we knew what it was already. It was like, oh my God, what is this?
Sure.
And when we got it, we used it like we're freaking out. And then we went to PvP and used it like a regular hand cannon. And we're like, oh, this thing kind of sucks.
I got you.
And then when we realized it was full auto and got all the perks unlocked or whatever, we were like, oh my God, this thing. Because you didn't play at that time, right? When Last Word.
No.
So
really.
You could get from hipfire, a headshot was 111 damage.
Jeez.
So 2-tap hipfire, and it was bugged. So you would get the hipfire bonus damage at random while aiming down sights.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So. Like in the tournament scene, especially, it would happen where you're like, fuck, I got double 111. So like some guy would be aiming his Last Word from, 50 feet or something, and you could get 2-tapped by a full auto pistol. So that was like that's the most iconic for me. But then, like, you know, Thorn is up there, Hawkmoon's up there, Red Death I think is really cool. There's so many good ones, it's hard to pick, but that's kind of the one that stands out
above
to
the
me.
rest.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Sawyer, thank you very much, man. I appreciate your time today, coming out and being on the show, being willing to do that. And I was like, I got to shoot my shot, because that's exactly the direction I feel like we need to go. So I do appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for taking the time. It was fun, you know, a lot of reminiscing and
kinda stirring up the old memories and getting into the controversies that are Bungie's current things. So we'll see where it goes. So. Well, thanks, man. And thank you guys for watching. If you're still hanging out with us, we greatly appreciate it. As always, if you would like to directly support the show, remember you can do that by becoming a member on YouTube. You can choose from a variety of tiers for various added benefits. You can have your name added to the credits like these guys right here. For Sir D, I'm Sax. Be blessed, y'all.